This is quite interesting. So Jonathan Jones of CBS Sports came out with the report potentially mentioning Tua Tagovailoa sending a message to the Miami Dolphins, and this is what his report was. Tagovailoa has been absent for a large majority of voluntary work since the Dolphins reported back April 15th. This is a stark contrast to his first 4 seasons in the league when Tagovailoa was present for most of the voluntary work. Sources believe his absence is related to his contract status. Now, he is playing on the 5th-year option, which is a little bit over $23 million for this season. Now, the SpotTrack has the estimated salary value at $49.3 or $49.6 million per season. We just saw Jared Goff get 53. We saw Kirk Cousins get 45. Joe Burrow's at 55. We see a number of contracts coming out, large contract extensions, and now it's Tua's turn. With Jared Goff's contract extension being $53 million, I want to know, do you expect the Dolphins to give Tua his contract extension before week 1?
I'm not sure about that. I almost think they're not going to do it. I think they're not close to a deal right now. He's skipping workouts, trying to send a message to them maybe. He may play 24 on the 5th-year option. I don't think that's what anybody really wants, but I don't think the Dolphins want to pay him the kind of money that Jared Goff got or Jalen Hurts got with his extension or Lamar Jackson got with his extension last year. I mean, they could pay him the almost $24 million this year, franchise tag him next year.
Right.
Yeah. Their GM has got a history of making up his mind about what he wants to get players, and if they don't agree to it, they're gone, right? That happened to Christian Wilkins. They made him a couple of offers, which he declined, and he wound up with the Raiders for almost he got a $110 million contract. And Robert Hunt also offered an extension, but he declined. We got $100 million from the Panthers. So this guy Greer, he's not somebody who backs down. He knows what he wants to pay, and if the players don't want it, then they can go. I mean, in Tua's case, he have his 5th-year option contract this year, and they can franchise tag him. And it might not be a bad idea, Nate, because you saw what happened to him in 2022. He got those number of concussions and actually missed quite a bit of playing time. This year he played, in 23, he played all 17 games, and he led the league in yardage, but he can't get them. He hasn't been able to get them a playoff win.
Right.
So those are issues. I think there's a fair chance that he'll play on the option year contract this year.
Well, absolutely. I think you bring up a really good point. He did have the head injuries. And not only did he have the head injuries, he had 2 of them. I think a lot of people are kind of saying that he had 2 confirmed concussions, but he had one, the first one, people thought, it kind of looks like he did. But you also bring up something very, very fascinating. He missed a lot of playing time and has yet to give the Dolphins a playoff win. I think we all know why. Tua is a warm weather quarterback. And there is no, but if, no. The numbers say that he is not a cold weather quarterback, and that's when the playoffs happen. In games 45 degrees or below, he's 0-6, has a 57% completion percentage, 253 yards, not bad per game, 87 touchdowns to 11 picks, that isn't bad, 6.8 yards an attempt, not terrible, it's a little bit low for the top-tier quarterbacks, and a passer rating of 67, that is abysmal. So he's not a good cold weather quarterback.
Well, the whole team is not good in cold weather.
Well, yeah, because
not just him. I think I agree. He's not good in cold weather, but the rest of the team isn't either. Well, they play in a warm weather environment.
Correct.
They're not used to the cold weather, and that's what it takes to get to the NFC AFC championship game. You're going to have to play a game or 2 in cold weather.
Well, I'm gonna use your stance on me when we've discussed quarterbacks and future projections for teams. Is quarterback holds the ball in every play. I don't care about the rest of the team because the quarterback has to get him the ball.
Yeah.
If your running back can't handle the cold, then that's something. But if you're wide receiver is one of the most, if not the most, dependent position in the NFL.
You would think Tyreek Hill, he should be used to cold weather play. He played in Kansas City.
And it's
played in some very cold games, too.
Absolutely. The 2018 AFC Championship game was a freezing cold game.
Yeah.
I don't, and that's also what we have to realize. Tua looks great because he has two phenomenal receivers, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And I believe they added a third one as well this offseason. So the Dolphins, weapon-wise, is great. And that actually led to Tua having a tremendous year. They signed Odell Beckham. So that led Tua to having his best season of his career so far with 4,600 yards, led the NFL in that, and 29 touchdowns, but the 14 picks is also the most in the in his career. And he also had 69% completion percentage this season. For me, I think just based on the fact that he's young, and we have to realize Goff, he's 3 or 4 years younger than Goff is. He got $53 million. If he's asking for anywhere near towards the top quarterback money-wise, I'm not giving him $55 million a year. I'm just not. And also, CBS Sports brought out their quarterback power ranking, which we keep bringing up. He's 12th, above Jared Goff. I would put Goff above him.
So would I.
I would also, I think you could seriously argue that second half of Jordan Love's season, you could argue, and he's already above Tua, but I know some people like Jordan Love, top 10, what? Above Tua? I think you could argue that as well. Because what we saw from Tua last season was there were a lot of questions in the MVP conversation. Who is it more? Is it Tyreek Hill going for the 2,000 yards, or is it Tua? And we saw a game against the Titans where the Titans came back. Will Levis had mounted a comeback, and the Dolphins couldn't do anything about it, really. But no. And we also have to put this into perspective. After that serious concussion season where he missed a lot of time, he was also considering retirement. And so he focused on, was it jiu-jitsu, I believe, to learn how to fall. We have to realize that these injuries come from where you don't see somebody. So you can't figure out, okay, I got to fall this way because I see a guy about to tackle me.
He was definitely playing safety-wise in this past season. I don't think he was not taking the kinds of chances he took in the prior year where he got hurt repeatedly there with his concussions. Another ding on him there is in the last week of the season, they needed to win that game 18.
Yeah.
Week 18, 17th game of the season against the Bills to win the division. And they didn't. They fell pretty far in the playoff rankings there. They might have gotten the win. If they'd stayed up at number one, they would have had an easier seed. And they didn't. They lost that game, and the Bills moved on. So that's another issue. I don't think the fans will be that upset if he doesn't get the contract right now. I think they'd be happy to see him play. He's going to play one way or the other. He may play harder and be better, maybe get a playoff win this year if he's playing on that option year contract. And then if they like what he does in 2024, then they can make him an offer then. And even if they can't agree, they can franchise tag him. So they got 2 years. They'll have 2 years out of him one way or the other, I think. So if it were me, I probably wouldn't give him a big contract right now.
I'm not either, because what we saw last season as well is they couldn't beat any good teams. Offensively, they were horrible. They scored 20 points or more twice, and they played, I think, relatively good teams. So the Bills twice, the Chiefs twice, including the playoffs, the Eagles, Ravens, Cowboys. I think those are very good teams. Now, the Eagles, the defense sucked, which actually hurts the Dolphins' case even more, because they played the Eagles and lost 31-17. Got absolutely smoked, and that was actually before the Eagles completely collapsed. But they lost 48-20 to the Buffalo Bills, 31-17 to the Eagles, 21-14 to the Chiefs. That was what was it, Frankfurt? It was some international game. Then you had a walk-off field goal against the Cowboys, but then lost 56-19 to the Ravens. I believe that was the game after Lamar crushed the 49ers. So they were on a hot streak at that point. Then you lost 21-14 to the Bills, and then in the freezing cold, the game lost 26-7. 7 points against the Chiefs in that wild card game. So this Dolphins team could not beat good teams. That was large part led by Tua. Yeah. Because the defenses would go up against Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and sometimes Jalen Waddle was banged up, but go up against, these types of receivers, slow them down, make Tua make the big play, and he couldn't. He absolutely couldn't. So I think we're playing, the Dolphins are going to play a little bit of a risky game. They were also one of the best running teams, if not the best, I believe. They were the sixth best rushing team, but led the league in rushing touchdowns. So Tua had a very nice balanced offense. What happens when there's imbalance? I don't think Tua could step up to the task.
Yeah.
Because if you go up against a good team with an inconsistent running game or inconsistent receiver play, dropping passes, kind of like the Chiefs had last season, I don't think Tua could figure it out and make the big-time play.
No.
Because what we saw last season was against good teams, doesn't succeed. Isn't good enough. He was too reliant on Tyreek Hill. And that kind of, killed their chances in large part. And I'll bring it up again just to reiterate this point is, in the big-time games, the playoff games, when it is cold, he's not a good quarterback. He's a horrible quarterback, actually.
Yeah.
57% completion percentage, doesn't have a single win, 67 passer rating. It's not
pretty
good.
poor.
It's not good at all.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Do you think that if the Dolphins, if he said, okay, I'll take $45 million for a long-term extension, do you
5
think
years, $45 million, I'd do it.
I think
He's good
they
enough.
would do it too. I think that's what they're trying to send a message to him about. They want a lower contract value, and they'll give him a longer extension, but they're not willing to go into the $50 million a year territory to sign him.
Well, he also hurt his own value by talking about him thinking about retirement. And also the Dolphins have to realize he might be one more concussion injury from him being medically unable to play.
Yeah.
Due to the chance of, if he has another one, to have like serious brain damage or whatnot.
And those are all things to consider. Very important things to consider.
These types of injuries, they're serious.
That's
we saw what happened.
Smart to stay on the $24 million contract. He's got an incentive to play hard because he'll be in a free agent year then. And if he does great, they can try to negotiate with him again. If they can't reach a deal, they get one more year with him on a franchise deal.
I would say you also, and you talk about this a couple times with other players, is put in a clause. If you get hurt, your contract can be voided. Have something along the lines of that.
He may not sign something like that.
Or the contract gets cut decently if you end up getting hurt. Some sort of team injury guarantee instead of a player injury guarantee, which the person we're going to talk about next after the break, Daniel Jones, is lucky enough to have an injury guarantee, which could make that contract fully guaranteed. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.